Hello, welcome to day 24 in creating this modern OpenGL game engine. And in the previous day 23, we were just integrating, bringing over the GL helper and just getting that to work in the Sonar game engine. So briefly got it to work drawing a triangle. It was in the circle class, not the triangle class. The reason for that was the circle class was a bit more advanced than more development had occurred on it than the triangle class had when it was still the old OpenGL, so the structure of it was more object oriented instead of just being static methods. Hence I put in the circle class, but I'm going to abstract that now because as you can see I've already run it and I've got a triangle render in. I want to see, okay, we've got SDL in there, it doesn't really matter what we've got. So if we got our GL helper over here, so this is what we got in the triangle at the moment. It's not the best triangle system because you don't have properties, whereas with the circle you have properties. You got like a constructor, you got a draw method, you can set the radius, get the radius, you can do all that stuff. And because it is a child of the object class, which is in base, it has a bunch of stuff as well, such as obviously drawing again, setting the wireframe, true or false, set color, get color. So yeah, I'm going to port this over. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is simply, oopsie daisy, copy and paste everything from the circle class into the triangle header. And what I am going to do is actually replace this with hash pragma once. Hash pragma once. I'm happy with that. And obviously I can get rid of this from here. And for circle, instead, we're going to change this to triangle. Change this to triangle. We've got no radius. Get number of sides, technically we're not doing that either, so I'm going to get rid of that. Number of sides, I'm going to get rid of that. We still need the shader, so that is fine. Now in the circle CPP, going to copy that into the triangle CPP and do similar changes in here. So change this to triangle.h, change this to triangle. I'll copy and paste this. I'll get rid of all the code in between the methods that are actually not for circles, such as this, and this is the old OpenGL anyway, and this should actually be draw, and I can get rid of this. So the resources was in here again, shaded, blah blah blah. And did I set this to copy over as well? So if yeah, I did. So you would update it accordingly. So in the triangle CPP, realistically, if I go to, where am I drawing? It's not in here. It will be in Core Engine, I'm guessing. Core Engine. Okay, so instead of doing circle, if I do triangle, I call this triangle, and I can get rid of everything apart from the drawing method. It's the only thing I'm concerned with at the moment. I'm hoping that this should run. Okay, my computer has just stopped. Hopefully it hasn't crashed. Okay, this is taking a little while now. Okay, that's fine. And here we go. So yeah, we still got the triangle, which is fantastic. Just make sure it's still recording. So that is good. But now, if we go to the triangle class, we're just doing all of this. Let's have a look at what can we abstract out. So the vertices, for example, this and the color as well. These really should be their own position. So how are we going to do this? Because I think it's important that because at the moment, if you have a look, can I resize this window? No, I cannot. Actually, I can't. Let me go on to GLW. And if that allows me to resize, I just want to see how we're handling the viewport, if we're handling it properly or not. Just give me a second. Okay, I want to be able to handle the resize event, so we haven't got that implemented, have we? So if I go to the CPP, we have this, but we don't have the resize event for SFML. So if I go to SFML, for example, SFML, run this now, it'll be a quarter of the size because it doesn't handle high density displays very well, but can't resize it. And I think I can enable that by just doing case SF event resized. Let's put a break like this. That should handle the resize event now. Still can't resize it. No, I don't think it's anything to do with this. Things to do with the settings, because if I go to settings, there was a parameter to set this up. So something that is resizable. Set this to GL true. That's GL full screen. Did not want that. I wanted GL true for this over here. Okay, so it's going to be resizable now. Fantastic. Okie dokie. Trying to think if that's the way we wanted it to work in relation to the viewport. So if I go to the viewport, how are we setting the viewport? Let's have a look at core nope, nothing in core framework, nothing in foundations. Let's go back to core engine. GL viewport, get scaled window width. I'm going to go to Google and say OpenGL viewport scaling, because what I ideally want is when we resize it, the objects shouldn't stretch. Actually, in games, do they stretch? No, they don't. So some games they do, but realistically, if you have the monitor that I'm using over here is a ultra wide monitor, 3440 by 1440, so it's just got more pixels on the left and the right compared to a 2560 1440 monitor. But playing a game on here, it just provides more real estate, whereas if I had a triangle in the middle, it should, on this display, and let's say a 27-inch iMac, which is over here, which has the same pixel density, it should still display the triangle in the middle in the same place, assuming it's in the middle. The sides should just allow more real estate to be displayed. But okay, so because obviously if I were to go into the core engine, core settings and let's say if I change this to, okay, we got 640, we remember what it looked like. Let me just run it again so we can see. Okay, so that's what we got, and that's what it looks like. But what if we were to change this to 1280, for example? I'll just double the width resolution. It stretches. That's not what we want. We still want the triangle at the same size in the middle. So I need to fix that. How do we do that? I know we did do some stuff like that in our OpenGL tutorials. I can't remember off by heart how to do it, so And in doubt, go to some old code. So there's some OpenGL tutorials there. There are more OpenGL tutorials. It's been that long? All of this stuff has either been created or some sort of contribution has occurred to it. So what I'm actually going to do is go to, so color was the latest tutorial. So if I go to color in here, so what do? We did so we got the viewport specifies part of this window to convert from normalized to pixels. That looks okay. So if I go to game engine, and if below this I put GL projection, let's leave that as it is. Projection matrix defines the properties of the camera that we use to replace current. That's fine. Essentially, essentially set coordinate system, and I'm gonna get this by doing core settings get screen. Ooh, is it scaled? Definitely we want the scaled window height here, do we? Because we're getting a hash definition there now. Yeah, we don't want the scaled. So if I go to settings, did I not have a method for getting the window size? So I've got set window size. I've got window that's just if it's resizable. Get window full screen, set window full screen, get window title. Actually no, there is, it's called get window size. So I get window, so yeah, we get window size dot width. And if I copy and paste this to height, and why did I set something to 600? Can't remember what this takes. So so this takes the left, right, bottom, top, the near clipping plane and the far clipping plane. So if I set this to, let's say, 10,000, we'll probably have settings for these as well. It will just be good to have them. So let's see what we get now. No, we're still essentially getting the same thing. But what are we doing when we... Okay, so where lies the issue? Where does the issue lie? Okay, so we set the coordinate system. And yeah, when we draw, if we go to triangle CPP, we got these positions. So it ranges between -1 and 1. But don't want it like that. Let's go to the OpenGL tutorial, which are over here. And so if I go to advanced queue mapping one, that should have the latest code, which it does. See what we're doing here. So we're setting the screen width and height. So projection matrix. Okay, get frame buffer size. So if I go back and in course settings, where do we actually set the scale, the window size? Core framework maybe? No, it's not core framework. Could it? I don't think it shouldn't be in here. Okay, so this is the GFW get frame buffer size. So let me enable GFW, see if it works with this instead. Okay, let's see this run. Okie dokie, so what do we get? Nope, this is not what we want at all. So I'll leave GRW enabled for now. So we got create window. So we get the screen size, set the width of it. And down here for the GL viewport, actually that's done in the other part. I can't remember if you have to explicitly, no, because we're using the normalized coordinates. That is the issue, I believe. So if I remember, I think in Cube tutorial I did something to help alleviate the issue. Draw cube, okay. GLFW, wait no, OpenGL, not normalized coordinates. Let's see what we get, because we want to get away from normalized coordinates. I can't remember whether OpenGL had the built-in functionality for this, or whether it's something you have to essentially handle yourself. OpenGL window resize ratio. Let's have a look at that. How can I adjust for the window being resized? Yep, this looks like what I want. So adjust viewport, adjust the see what happens if I use GL frustum instead. GL frustum. Nope. So they've got something happening manually. So let's see if what the other links are saying. So doing. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this bit of code here, window resized handler. So when the window is resized, we need to reset the viewport again. So obviously the resized event occurs in GFW, SDL, or SFML, but we realistically want to whack this code into here. For now, what I'm actually going to do is see if I can get it to work if I were to just put it inside the game. Now, obviously this is not what we want at all. Let's just try and do it this way. So if we do core settings, get window size, which size should this be? Actually, it doesn't matter because this is just the aspect ratio. It doesn't really matter which one we're using. The height, okie dokie. Actually, I can't remember what get window size returns. If I jump to the definition, it returns a int, so I do need to cast these to floats. Feel free to I'm happy with that. Just leave this as it is for now. So for the viewport, we want essentially this. Let's see what we get. Okay, so this should actually be GL. Say GL auth. And so if I put that here, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parameters. So if we run it, see what we get. It's sort of getting there because like the end result isn't actually a scaled version of that triangle. It is same size. So what would happen if I were to get rid of this and just set the viewport up again? What would happen if I were to set this? So if I were to do it like essentially the same way. See, like the scale or the triangle that's distorted is still trying to appear. It's just finding it really difficult to appear. Let me close all these other executables down, but we are getting a tad closer. Okay, so we've got this at the moment. So what I'm actually going to do is go into the settings file, change it back to 640. This won't obviously fix anything, and if it did, that isn't a good thing, because we want the developer to be able to set a resolution that they're happy with. But if I put this here, it does try and flick. But what I ideally want to do is have this content, I don't know, should it be centered or not? Let's go to definitions. No, I think it should be centered. I believe it should. GLFW, OpenGL, handle resize. See if there's any more stuff if I just go for the GLFW port side of things. Okay, so what we're dealing with is, okay, don't need any of this, I believe. Ooh, got a bunch of different hints. Pretty cool stuff. So window size, set window size. Maybe I essentially have to do all of this again. This is the core engine part. So in GLFW, for example, if I were to get this, so I were to constantly, again, I know this isn't what we want. For now, I'm just going to put it within the poll event, because actually no, while window is open, close window, no. I know poll events is called every frame, so while this is called, if I run this now, just make sure if I go to core framework, core engine, is it being updated? Yes, it's been updated here. So let's see what happens if we run this now. So okay, that's fine. Nah, it's just doing what it was before. Which is definitely not what we want. But as you can see, it's still staying centered, which is more what we want, sort of. We want a blend of this and the other one. If we go back to here, so let's see if I comment this one in, let's see what we get with this. That is not what we want at all. GFW don't care. Didn't really help too much, so let's have a look at this one instead. Looks to be pretty much the same stuff. I'm just thinking, do I need to do something with the ratio? Sort of do, but I'm just trying to figure out what it is. So GL viewport, custom width, custom height. Okay. Let's get rid of this again. Or let's just get rid of it. So let's bring it back to what we had. So this scales a bit. I mean, the resize is good. It's just the problem I have with this one now is the flickering problem. And the fact that flickering problem may just be to do with where I've put the stuff in the core engine file. So if I go to here, if I were to get rid of, if I were to cut this, say if I were to put it after everything maybe. No, it's still trying to do that. Okay, there's that issue, plus the fact that triangle is not centered. That's ideally what I would want. I don't think, is it? Because essentially, let's try and replicate it. If we were to go to the settings file, so settings, let's say if we had a resolution of the 1280 by 720 is 16 by 9. So let's say if I do 12 by 7, 12 by 7. Let's do 300 by 200. Okay, that's what we get. Now let's imagine, let's actually take a screenshot of this because we might need it. This is what it looks like without retina, for example, high density. So let's just double the width and the height, so we have 4 times the number of pixels, essentially. Okay, that seems okay. What would happen if, let's say, we made it wider? So we change this to a 9, for example. So we have like an ultra wide monitor. The thing stretches. That's the issue right there. So if I can get it, obviously I think trying to okay, where else are we using the height? Are we using the, I mean the size anywhere? That might be interfering with it. See what time it is. It's been half an hour. Okay, so first of all I want to try and fix the ratio issue, the fact that it's distorting it. So OpenGL size stretches objects, aspect ratio stretching. Yeah, so I don't want any stretching in there. What happens if, let's just see if what happens if I just use this one. So in the game engine, so for this, if I were to put height and I'll do the same here. Why did is the code is GL Ortho 2D deprecated? So if I were to put GL Ortho 2D, I think it might be deprecated actually. Build failed. GLU, that is. Don't need glue, but that's for now. This is. So the capital D. Build successful. So that looks okay. So again, if I were to go to the shader file, I mean the settings file, change this to 600. The program should still maintain the same ratio, but it doesn't. It does not. It's only once we resize it that it maintains the same ratio. So go back to the modern OpenGL tutorials, have a look what we did here. So we had a viewport. Okay, we had a projection like so, and where did we use that projection? I believe we passed it into the camera class. So they're doing none of this stuff that we was doing before with the, I think that might be the old OpenGL. It's so confusing, the old and the new stuff. So we got GL viewport, that's good. GL load identity. If I put GL load, okay, might not be the old stuff. So if I run this now, let's see what we get. Won't work because of this right here, and I need this to be get scaled. Window width. Nope, this should actually be the regular one, so not the get scaled one. And I believe for the zoom, that is it just a ratio? Let's have a look. So camera, zoom, get zoom. How do we calculate the zoom again? So we just pass in a value for zoom. So for zoom, I was going to put 45 degrees. GLM. Why is perspective not there? GLM is map 4 there. Yeah, so picking up GLM, I can see by the IntelliSense actually the fact that all the actual color on here, but perspective isn't being picked up. This camera class, to get view matrix or GLM looker. I thought, no, this is to do with movement. We can get away without this. So if we go to getting started, so we don't do the camera tool then. So let's just go to tutorial 5. See what we have in here. So we have the viewport. That's good. Yeah, I do use GLM perspective, so why isn't it being picked up? That is the question, indeed. And projection gets used here, so pass them to the shaders. We don't have shaders that complex at the moment. Actually, if I go to here, if I do hash, maybe the full GLM isn't being included. So if I do hash include GLM, /, how did I use it everywhere else? Have I used it in core framework? Nope. I must have used it in here. Nope. Have I used it in core settings? Nope. Have a core engine? Oh no, it's obviously not here because I'm trying to add it. What about in triangle? I should have done. Should have used it here somewhere, maybe in the CPP file. Okay, if not in there, it must be in object GLM vec3. That is the issue. So instead of vec3, what we want to do is use GLM. It is this one here. So if I scroll down, or if I go to the core engine, I should now resolve that error. Let's see what we get when we run it. See what happens when we go to the settings file. We are not doing anything with that projection, so I don't see why that would actually affect anything, but let's just make it ultra wide. Nope, 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 not nada. Let's see what we do in the first tutorial. Do we do anything to do with the projection in there? Nope. We do not. Let's see what tutorial we get to before we actually use the projection. So no, not yet. Could it be in tutorial free textures? Okay, still not even in texture, so if I go to transformations, no. So the first instance of it being used is in projection and coordinate system. So if I go to the res folder, I want to open up the shade to see what they're looking like. So if we got this, so if we copied and paste, this uses a texture coordinate, should just be easily updated. So this is the Vertex Shader. So in the Vertex Shader, so we're gonna need to change a few things. So if we put this, so we can put this over here. I want a color. Happy with that, and I'll replace the top line with this, but the color is still going to be the color that was passed in. Apart from that, get rid of it, and now we need the core.frag. No, this only calculates the final color value, so shouldn't actually need to change this. This should be okay. We're not using any text, so we don't need to calculate the color, the pixel of the texture. So now, if in the core engine, we need, I'm just going to put in here, I'm gonna put GLM map for projection. So I'll put it here so it's accessible from anywhere in this class. I want this to go blue, there we go, and I can get rid of this. And now in here where we draw it actually in there technically. So if we go to draw method, we would, where we use shaders, let's have a look, we would put that where I put in here. In here it was part of this right here. So we have here, we have, okay, so we're gonna need something like this. Gonna just get this entirely. So it's after the shader is being used. So if I put this here, see what we need to change. Use of undeclared. Maybe I need to put the right GLM header here. So if I go to where I had in the core engine, forget this, go to triangle, whack it here for now, and in the CPP hopefully this should fix some of the errors. Fix those errors. GFW get time. So let's just do 1 for example, so this will be the rotation of it. This should be shader. Shader. Get a pointer to it. And a pointer to it. So pretty cool. So I'm going to put proj location. Nope. And this should be projection, but I'm going to need to pass it in. For now, I'm going to pass it in. I may or may not do that at a later date. I may actually abstract that out, but for now, map for projection. Copy that into the triangle CPP as well. And now in the engine.cpp, when we core draw somewhere here, we need to pass in projection. So if we run this now, let's see what we get. Didn't spell projection right, and Xcode has just crashed this again. Not crashed it, just halted the execution. See what the time is. Okay, so we'll be ending this day very soon. So projection, oh, spelled it wrong again. May need to get rid of this code here. I'll play by ear and I'll see how it goes. Oh, that's because we rotated it, isn't it? So if I go to model, so if I put 0.0, 0.0, you should have no rotation now. Okay, what happens, because that was technically the ultra wide, if I go to settings, Change this to 600. If we get more of an equilateral triangle, this did not work at all. Looks like we did. Just to confirm it, I'll whack in 300, so it's actually going to be longer, taller, and the triangle behaved as expected. One last thing I'm going to try is in the game engine.cpp, get rid of this. What happens if I get rid of this as well? I'll see in a second. So in the settings now, see what we get. Probably be the same, I guess. And now run this again. Same. One last thing I'm going to try commenting this out. So if I change this to 300, so it's taller, we're still gonna have the squash triangle, are we not? Yes. It's bad, that's bad. Okay, what I'm gonna do is end the video here. So if anybody has any tips for this, I still can't remember how to do it. So I'm gonna need to look at it some more. So I'm actually on GitHub. I'm going to make a note saying what we were working on, which was fixing the ratio. So this is a high priority, so I should put it at the top. Fix OpenGL ratio problem stretches items. So I will need to look at that, but that will be for the next video. So this has been let's wait for this to commit. It has committed. So this has been day 24. I'm not going to commit the code that I've worked on today. It's been day 24 in creating a modern OpenGL game engine. Been fun. Obviously I haven't got where we would have liked to. Started the triangle class and we sort of just saw not a huge problem, but it was something that needed to be addressed before I would say progressing, because the methods we're going to have in triangle, I was going to have something for setting maybe the radius of the triangle. By default you would just have a method to set the length of all the sides, and it would just create a equilateral triangle. But you could modify the vertices if you wanted, so you could create a different sort of triangle. But we didn't get onto that yet, and we will get onto it. But first of all, we need to fix the ratio issue. Once that's done, we can get onto the triangle stuff, then start doing the other GL helper. Once all that's done, we can move on to sprites and all that other good stuff. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in day 25. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave us a comment. And feel free to contribute towards any documentation, notes, architecture, design of the engine, any coding, anything at all, because it's a game engine by the community, for the community. And as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next day.